Okay. Now this is our system. Just to refresh it a bit. The last time we were here, we saw how to create an asset schedule. Did we create one? Let me first look at the report. Yeah, there's accumulated depreciation here, which comes from the system. Great, we created one. Now, today, we are going to make a review of what we have done, see what is that we have not done. Then if we can finish today, it's going to be more of interactive, so that tomorrow I send you a practice question for you to practice. Then we shall have to do a test. For you to be given a certificate, you have to go to do a test, and it's a requirement from the National Council or UBITEB, whatever the authority is. Now, today is going to be more of interactive. I'm going to make a reference from what we have covered so far. You know, this is QuickBooks Institute, and we say that QuickBooks from 2017 to 2020 to 21 almost had similar characteristics. So when you know one, even the other will be very easy for you. At first, we said, if initially when you have just created a company, it brings you something like this, you first have to go and edit the preference. Among other things you need to edit, you need to understand is accounting. Accounting will help you to either assign classes where your system is going to be on a class by class some point. If you want to wish to view your results on a class basis. You also assign numbers. If you want to have account numbers and you click there, it will put the account numbers automatically. It even gives you date warnings. If someone passes the transaction by that date, it will give you an alert that the transaction you're trying to pass has exceeded the date. And it has closing date, the date through which your books are closed if the year is ending. Then you don't have much to do with the bills, but you can go there. It shows you bills are due 10 days after receipt. These are your bills. Depends with your supplier. You can change the credit period depending on the terms that you have. The calendar will help you in some scenarios, but not that much. Desktop view just helps you to how your desktop is going to be displayed. Finance charge, not much needed. Integrated application is more for IT team. And general, yours is more interested in multiple currencies. You always have to first go and put your reporting currency by enabling these multiple currencies. And then when it comes to payments, make sure that you unclick this use undeposited funds to avoid posting things that you'll end up looking for the money and you don't see it. So after you do that, we say you need to come now to the list and create your chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is normally created based on the chart of account that has been approved by directors. In some companies, most companies, they have their approved chart of accounts. If those companies don't have companies that don't have the chart of accounts, then you can come up with one of your own and have the directors sign it. Because when the auditors come, they will ask you for this approved chart of accounts by the directors. So if you don't have one in an organization, you can set one for yourself. So here we saw that you can create different accounts, or what we call ledgers. So you can create ledgers. Ledgers are the same as the journals. You create the accounts, computers, furniture, everything. From there, because you are starting a business, if it's an inventory business, you have to use item list. Item list will have all the inventory that you have in the organization. If it is a supermarket, everything that you sell in the supermarket should come. It's like your store. Everything will be here under the item list. Just give me a minute. Sorry. So I was saying, you go and approach your list, your item list, and that is where you put all your items that you have. If it's a supermarket and you have a mini supermarket, everything that you sell, create for it. Because now you putting them there, you are linking, you are configuring, you are linking this, that every time you sell it, it automatically, and you make an entry, to automatically post itself. You put everything there, everything, and plus you configure taxes from there, like how we did. Then you can as well go and go to this fixed asset in case you have fixed assets and put them here. All that you have, it's like your fixed asset ledger. All of them, you put it here. After doing that, you're going to go to this accountant. Is in some new versions, they don't even have it. It's just a replica of other things. But if you want to make, for example, when you come to company and you want here, the most important thing to do is, one, you can plan from here. We've seen budgets. You can set up your budget from there. You can set up your forecast. You can set up your cash flow projectors. You can use business plan tool, and so on and so forth. Even from here, you can be able to access your chart of accounts. It even has control shortcuts. Control A automatically will take you to chart of accounts. But most importantly here is generally managing journal entries. So most transactions that don't need like a daily routine posting, like buying an asset which you buy once, you always pass them through the journal. The salary journals, we've seen them, we pass through the same journal, and so on and so forth. So this journal will help you in many ways if you don't want to go to the long process. The other long process should only go for those things that you sell every day, purchases and sales. Okay. So now that was under the company. Now here, still you can manage your currency from here. We said you can go and you can have a currency list depending on what currencies you deal in, whether you deal in USD, UGX. You can change your currency every day, literally. Every day you can change your currency. Like you see, there's a US dollar here. We have already put, when you double click, we have already put currencies. So if they keep changing daily, every day you come, you put another currency. So that's the entries which will be made in a foreign currency will be picking that currency rate at that time. So this, you get it under company, and still under company, you can be able to manage the fixed asset. You see, I showed you how to go to fixed asset manager. You go to manage fixed assets, then you can manage it from there. It is also a short way of managing them, the assets. You may go to, then from there, you can go to customers. Customers, you manage everything that involves selling from there, starting from creating the suppliers in the system. If it is a school, you create the customers are the students. You can create them from here. You can even create them under classes. P1, then you put the names of all the students here. P2, you put all the names of the students, the whole school. So those will be your customers, so that you can be able to generate a statement of each student separately if it's a school. But under customers, you can be able to do, and here under new, and if you want, if they are students, you can even do something called multiple customer jobs, so that now you don't have to put one by one, but you can match a whole list like an Excel here. For students, you can match, you can put names one by one up when you finish them. That is under customers. So under customers, you can as well create estimates, or what we call sales order. If it is a school, there could be admissions. You call them admissions, not estimates. Because at the point when you admit a student, you are not sure whether they will come, but you have given them admissions. If they come and they deposit money actually, and they confirm that they're going to start studying, that's when you translate these admissions into now invoices. Admissions are like estimates now, because the student is confirming joining the school, but they are not actually committed yet. If it is a normal business, you can create estimates from there. You can create sales order from there. You can create invoices from there. Sales receipts, if a customer is just paying and it's just a receipt, you can create them from there. You can create statements. You can receive payments still from here. You can create a credit memo, what we call a refund credit note, from here. In case there's a client that you sold the goods and then they denied them, you can create a credit memo, which you call a credit note, from here. That is under customer. Under customer, those are the most important items for you to learn from there. Now, vendors is anything suppliers. Anything suppliers, you find it from the vendors, including creating bills. Vendor centers, you can create vendor suppliers from here. All of them, all the suppliers that you have, you can enter bills from there. Enter bills means if you go to buy something and they give you an invoice, you enter the bill. You can pay the supplier, or what we call it pay bill. And here you pass all the items that you have purchased, mostly the items which are in the normal business purchases. You see, it's not too detailed, but it has everything that you need on the side of the supplier. So this employee, we say this function, we may not actually use it more often, because QuickBooks acknowledges that if you're going to use a payroll function, you ought to buy it separate, because different countries have different laws. So they cannot make a one single function called employee taxes, because each countries have different taxes. That's why they leave it for you to go and procure it separate. But QuickBooks Online, I think, has that plan. But still, companies prefer to use Excels from the payrolls, then they enter the journals normally. We have banking here, where we do our expenses from here, write checks, normal business expenses. We call it write checks. The Americans call check spending checking. So that's why they call it checks. So you can even do monthly reports from here. Accountabilities. If you make any payment, you can make it from here. Then within this banking, still you can make deposits to the bank. If you have money from the cash, you can make deposits to the bank from here. Very clear, straightforward. From which account to which account. Still, under banking, you can transfer funds. Still, also from one account to another account. We saw it clearly. Under banking, you can do reconciliations, which we saw from here. You can do reconciliations from here. Under banking, you could do loan managers, but loan managers, this one is also a unique function. Sometimes it follows some laws, but you can do amortizations from here. But businesses prefer to have the amortizations that the bank has actually given them. If you have like a microfinance, you run a circle, probably you may have to do it. You can use the system, but most people prefer to use the amortizations that the bank gives you. So then finally, reports. Here it has very many reports. You may want to get, as I told you, report as a snapshot, using the graphs, the pie charts, and so on and so forth. So it can it has company, payments, customer. You can have different reports from here. Can show you the performance in the different views. Okay. You can even have a filter, whether last month, this year, and so on and so forth. So still under reports, if you want to view it like that, you may go on the company and financials, what we use mostly. It will give you profit and loss, detailed profit and loss. It could be a profit and loss by class, profit and loss unclassified item, expenses by vendor, balance sheet, different cash flows. So you can even go under customers and receivables. It gives you the aging analysis properly, open invoices, unbilled costs by job, different reports depending on your desires. Vendors and payables will give you aging analysis of the suppliers and all unpaid bills. And then we can have accountant and taxes. Accountant and taxes, you can find the adjusted trial balance from here. General ledger, you can find transaction list by date. Sometimes the question may ask you to give them this transaction list by date. So this transaction list by date, you find it under accountant and taxes. We've got budgets, which if you have already prepared them, you can view them from here. It could be budget versus actual. Okay, it could be a budget versus actual, and you view it from here. If at all you already have the budget, you may have it in this form, as if it's a profit and loss. So you can have your actual results here, then the budget. Okay, then you can have a percentage of how you are either over budgeting, how much you have eaten so far on this budget. Okay, can also be like that. You can also go and get different lists. These lists can give you item price lists, fixed item listing, customer phone list. You can have vendor, like different lists if you have them and if you want them. Terms listing, depending on whatever you want. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I do not think there is anything in as far as I'm concerned that I have not taught you in QuickBooks. Nothing. The onus now is on you to understand the double entry, because you see, in as much as we are talking, whatever you do, you must understand how double entry works. And that is a skill that you develop over time. You develop double entry skill over time, depending on the nature of your business. But there is nothing that I know about in QuickBooks that I've not taught you. I want you to open your microphones, and then we enter the session of asking individual questions where you feel like you've not understood, where you feel like we should improve, what you feel like we should do. Before tomorrow I will share with you a practice question for you to do, so that on Monday next week, you will do the test. Monday or Tuesday, one of the two, you will do the test. It will be a take home. You share the Excel back on the email. We mark it. If you score above 50%, we give you the certificate. If you don't exceed the 50% pass rate, you can take the skill, but you may not take the certificate. So open your lines and we communicate. I have Mercy, I have 3 people, Silas and Achen here. Please open and ask individual questions. Where do you think you're missing?
Sorry, can you repeat your last words? You said if you don't get 50%, then I didn't hear that well.
I said it is a requirement for us, before we give you certificate, to do a test. Just like any institution, they cannot award you a certificate because Capital College is a recognized institution. So if you go to a job and it requires someone to have experience in QuickBooks, this certificate will talk for you. because people recognize the institution, if you go and you did not get the 50%, and then you take the certificate and something goes wrong, I mean, they can use this against the school. But that being said, the requirement from the National Council of the higher bodies that take us require that you at least do a test before they award you a certificate. Now, the pass rate is 50%. Normally, I'm going to first give you the test question for you to go through. It resembles exactly what we are going to do at the end. So on Monday, I give you the question itself. You actually do it. It can be a take home. You do it. You send back what you have done. It has time. So when you send back what you have done, we shall mark it. Now, the pass rate is 50%. Whoever will score above 50% will earn the certificate from the institution. If you do not score 50%, you will not earn the certificate from the institute. But you've earned the skill. Have you understood,
I got
sir?
you got you very well. Thank you very much.
Yes, you are welcome. So now I am asking the question. We've been together, what is that you feel like you are missing in QuickBooks so far? If someone invited you and like, we want someone who knows QuickBooks, can you go? Can you confidently go? Is there anything that you feel that you're missing? This is a question I'm posing. There's someone who was asking, what if it's an NGO? I need those questions.
Yeah, I asked you that yesterday.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I asked you that last week. And
Yes. Now there is no
I
difference
think
between a
what I want to ask, number one, is
yes,
customizing the charts of accounts.
yes,
You know, to match with an NGO setup,
yes,
in line with IFRS and accounting standards.
yes,
Then maybe things to do with grants, donations, programs, projects. Then
yes.
one thing which I feel is important was also to look at in NGO is set up of bank accounts and fund transfers, which I've demonstrated a few minutes ago. But I would also love if we can go deeper. Then use of QuickBook reports for compliances.
Please be audible.
I'm saying use of QuickBook for compliances.
Yes, yes.
Profit and loss by classes. Then budget and actual report for grant tracking. I feel if we get into the nitty-gritty of those things can help us improve in our places. Thank you.
Okay. Let me first respond to the skills before we forget. Now, an NGO is like any other organization. The only difference is maybe you may not have inventory, and maybe this item list may not work so much for you because you don't have so much inventory. So when you are putting chart of accounts, you're going to do more of service. Chart of accounts is the normal chart of accounts that your company will always give you. I'm sure you'll have donations there and mostly expenses. You do them normally like how we have done them. Normal expenses, normal donation, normal accounts the way they are. They will still pay NSSF, they will still pay as you earn. Even some NGOs pay VAT if you run a profit-making entity. You know, you may be an NGO, but you are running as a school or you are running a restaurant, which must as well pay VAT. They are only exempting you on the incomes that the NGO itself receives, but they don't exempt you if you engage in business activities. So you will have normal chart of, just that what will differ from you now, you will have classes. Classes are going to be your projects. Remember when I said you go to edit and you go to preference and you go to accounting and you go to company preference and you assign classes here. So when you assign classes, You see, like something we did, if I can come and do reports and get the profit and loss by class. Now, if it's an NGO, these classes are going to be, like you see, soda, water. These classes are going to be the projects that you have. Each project, so that you can be able to know how much each project is bringing in. It may not be, this may be donation for each project. Now, what comes as revenue for NGO will be donations and grants. Say this is donation, then donation for project A, or project water, or project soda, or project head office. So you will be able to see your profit and loss on a project basis. These are like the projects themselves. But at the end of the day, if you want a whole project profit and loss for the NGO, you may be getting it, but it may separate them into different projects. Every expense that you put, let's say under banking, write checks. Every expense that you put here, you should class it. You should class it. Class means the projects. Even if you buy airtime, you should say project beer. This airtime goes to project head office or project soda, like that. It will be able to properly give you the report on a project basis. Fund transfer. You use this banking transfer funds and transfer from any account you want, from maybe from this account to this account, from whatever, which class. Is it project beer? Is it project head office? It should be able to specify which project, and you must put the reasons for that transfer. If there are dollars, it will open this for you to put the exchange rate. And the other thing with NGO, they will not have much of inventory, but yes, everything else they will have. Even the reports can be done. But then when you're preparing these reports, let's say for profit and loss standard, these reports can be changed in different formats. It could be a daily report, a daily. It could be a week report. You can adjust it to be a monthly report. If we had many more months, it could show. You could even adjust it to yearly. You could adjust it per project, what we call customer job. Okay? No, this was for customer. Let's say customer, for NGO, the customers may be, let's say we may create donors. So we have many donors. We could even have them as donors. What you're seeing as Mistil, Point of Sale, Serena could come in as donors so that we can create different donor reports. The profit and loss that go to the donor, Mistil, will be there with the expenses themselves. The one which goes to donor called Serena will also be there. So you could do that. You could also customize this depending on what you want. Really, it could be per year, like this. Even here, you can change the dates. Do you want week to date? Do you want the one which is for fiscal year? Do you want the one which is for the last month to date? Do you want the one which is for the next fiscal year? Like when you interact with this system, you are going to discover so many beautiful things about it. Of course, you cannot learn the system within just one day and perfect it 100%. It is now an issue of you practicing and using more of the system. And the beauty with this is, even when I train you here, you have my contact. If you go in any organization and you have an issue with the system and you are using QuickBooks, call me. I still have people that are calling me up to date that I have taught, because you are not the first group that I am teaching. I've taught now this QuickBooks this is my third year. So people who have trained continually ask me, and I don't charge them a single coin so long as you are my student. Ivan, I am here in this organization, but how do we proceed from here? By the way, most of these guys even call me and they give me work. Say, Ivan, we need you to come and train our staff in finance, in tally, in this system. We are introducing it. I train them. We move together. It does not. My help is not stopping here for these classes that we have conducted. but you can as well always consult me in your workplace and like, Ivan, now this is here. How should we go about it? And I think that is how we have managed to progress. I don't know if I have answered you, but if it is an NGO, there is nothing unique about it. The accounting remains the same. It's only, it will be in how you create your chart of accounts that will matter. Have I answered you, sir? Is there anything I need to clarify more?
You did so well. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. I know Mercy had questions. Mercy, please open the microphone and ask anywhere you have not understood so far. Anywhere. Because if you are to perfect this properly, you need to appreciate double entry. And double entry, you appreciate it with time. Because sometimes we have entries that come with different uniqueness. But if anything, you always have to go and make general ledgers, general journals, you have to use double entry. And with practice, you will see that QuickBooks will be very easy for you. Even if you have a small business, a home-owned business, you can still be able to see your results properly here without any problem. I need to get more questions from the other team members. Petronella, I think you had a question. You had a question, did you? I think you were asking about something. Mercy, Nanzidi.
I need some more clarity on how to create general journals, like for a school, let's say.
For a school?
Yes.
Now, let me give you an example of a school. You know, when you have a school, the chart of accounts is going to remain the same, like how we have done. Of course, you'll have normal expenses and your revenue accounts. You see, if it is a school, you may have different chart of accounts. How? When you come to your chart of accounts here, in a school, you may have 3 or 4 different types of revenues. You may have one revenue line called maybe tuition fees. You may have another one called admission fees. You may have another one called development of, we call it development fund, what those things schools ask. Then you may even have school requirement, and all those are sources of income to the school, and even donations. So you create them normally as in the chart of account. But now, the most important in the school is in the item list here. Just give me 1 minute. I was saying that if it is a school, the most important item here is your customer center. Your customer center is going to have all the names of the students. You create them as customers. You create them you can give them unique codes. Say maybe for P1, you may create a name of every student. Even if it is if they are family members or their brothers, you still create every student you admit, you create them as a customer. Now that will help you to generate each student's statement separate. Should a student want a statement, what they call, please, I want my statement, I want to see how much my kid is, you are demanding us for my child. You always have to just generate that statement. If you have created them as what? As customers. You always have to go under reports, then under, you can even go under customers and receivables. If you want the aging analysis, it will always give you. If you want this sales summary, to give you per student. You want a report. Do you remember when we said that you can have a report which is income by customer summary? It can give you income per each student. Now, what the only thing that differs here is that under your customer names, customer center, you have the names of the students, but the rest are going to remain the same. Chart of accounts, maybe in the item list here, you may, in the school, you may have to create, because you see, you may find that admission fees alone has different sub items there. Maybe under admission fees, there is uniforms, there is meals, there is what. Now, those sub admission incomes, you put them here, meals, uniform, and interlink them to admission fees. So if a student pays uniform, it goes to admission fees. If a student breaks the school rules and you ask them to bring something, you put it somewhere. So you interlink them from the item list. But you don't want to have so many things on your financial statements. So you keep like 3 or 4 revenue items. If you want to separate them, you come in the item list and create different separate items. But it also remains the same accounting, same. It's the chart of accounts that changes. And I keep saying you, if you have any, let's say you have started a school and you want QuickBooks, you call me, I'll give you free services. Tell me, Ivan, I want you to design for me this chart of accounts properly for the students. They create, and once someone creates chart of accounts initially for you, now everything is going to be easy because now the system is already set. Me, I've taught you in a situation where you don't have the chart of accounts and you have to start from the scratch. Is that understandable? But everything else
Yes.
remains the same for the school. Only that now the customers become the students' names. And every time you are booking, you will have to choose. Let's say you create invoice. When a student comes, you know that in the senior 4, we have 100 students. You come and create invoice for each student. Now, this invoice for each student, of course, when you see that invoice has the word customer job. Now, here where there is customer job, you will choose the student, that student. It will have student name. Let's say Senabuya Ivan. You click on Senabuya Ivan. Then you say maybe create invoice. Okay. Let's say, okay, there were things already here, but I'm just bringing it as an example. That when you bring Senabuya Ivan, it will have a class. Maybe you have created the classes as senior 1, senior 2, senior 3. So you say maybe Bia is senior 1. So you say Senabuya Ivan, who is from senior 1. Then when you come here, I'm billing them for school fees. You also bill them for admission fees, uniform, meals, whatever. You bill them. Then you create a one bill for one student. You post it. So that student, if they require a statement, you can be able to generate the customer statement for them, which is a student statement. Always. And it will be very, if a parent comes and say, okay, I want a statement for my students, you can always be able to generate those statements when you go to your reports here. And you say customer and receivable, you can generate, let's say, customer balance summary, okay? You know, it asks which customer, the report for the students. Like when you interact with this system, you may be that it's going to bring you per student, how much you are demanding them. And if you want to go to student called Ivan, which you have shared on here, you double click in that student and it will give you Ivan's statement. Just 1 second.
Tim, you'll give me 5 minutes. I'm trying to reset my system here. It's refusing a bit. Yeah, sorry guys. I think we're back online. But now, Silas, to conclude, I think I answered what Marcel was trying to say, which was basically on the school, if it was a school, and what you were saying if it was an NGO. Now,
Yes.
do you have any questions?
You're talking to me or you're talking to Marcel?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
Okay. Let me see. I still appreciate the idea that you said earlier, coming up with a problem question, then we look at it, something like that.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to share the problem question for us to do individually. Then, because it's better to first practice and see now where if we get anything wrong with the question, let's keep asking. My inbox is there. Just like I've told you, I'm going to support you up to when we finish this. So in case you get anything, and my inbox is still open even after this session. It doesn't matter where, you can always tell me, even when you're around Kampala here, tell me, Ivan, there's this, you can come and help us. I'm always around. Is it okay?
Yeah, very fine.
Okay, so I will share the question tomorrow. But I think we have really appreciated. Then we shall proceed from there. All right, thank you, and have a blessed night.